All right, well, welcome and thank you for attending the networking and job searching session sponsored by the Department of Social Work on behalf of our graduates from the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. I am Jenny Becker, the undergraduate program and field director for the Social Work Department. Leading our session is TJ Warren. He's the Assistant Director of the Office of Career Services at UNI. The session will include information about resume structure, online interviews, and job searching and networking. So TJ, you can take it away.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Again, TJ Warren, one of the assistant directors in the College of Social, in the Career Services Office, but I also am kind of the liaison to the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. So I'm here to assist all of you in your career development as far as job searching, networking, building your resume, all of that kind of stuff. So happy to be here. And first lesson, and this is what I don't recommend for interviewing, is having some sort of background like this. It's a little chaotic back here. I'm currently working from my home office and have little colleagues that are bound to interrupt at any point in time. So this is my only escape right now currently. So yeah, I don't recommend this background, a plain background. A couple of you I see on there, your backgrounds look great. So yeah, for questions, I would just say at the end, let's submit those through the chat, or you can, we'll then unmute you and you can ask those questions at the end and then let me know what you want to know more about. So the way I'm going to break this up is I want to go over quickly just a quick look at a typical resume, what makes a strong resume. I'm going to talk about some tips for online interviewing, and then also your job search networking piece, kind of blending those together. So 3 components here today, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end. So first of all, what I want us to go through is a little bit about resume development. And I'm going to share my screen here. You should see what we have on our website is a typical resume format. And we have been told by employers that this is a really strong format. They appreciate the easy layout. It looks sharp, it's easy to read, and really it should be that way in the sense that, you know, resumes get a look on an average of 5 to 7 seconds, which is not a lot of time when you think about how many hours and minutes you put into this document. So we want to make sure that it's clean, sharp, employers are ready to look through it and want to take a better glance. So if you think about a pile of resumes and employers going through anywhere from 20 to up to 300, some 1,000 if you're applying to a big company. What they want to do is they take a quick glance at it. They say, do consider or do not consider. They put it in 2 piles, and you want to be put into that do consider. So I want to make sure this is sharp. So the format on here, when we're looking at it, it's got 4 main components, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. We have our education, experience, and mainly this is work experience that this individual put together, leadership activities, and technical knowledge. These tend to be the most common components that you'll put on a resume, but you could put conference participation, professional associations you're a part of, coursework, projects, even awards and honors that you've received. Any of that kind of stuff is fair game for your resume. It does not have to take this shape, but these are the most common things and what really should be included on your resume. One thing I do want to highlight up at the top, you'll notice that there is a physical address that's included. We are actually starting to move away from providing physical address to employers because you're not going to get, physical mail typically from an employer. So email and phone number is just as good. The other thing I've heard from students is if they're applying for a position at a distance, it can sometimes set them apart, have a little bit of a bias in the sense of, I've got 25 people here in New York that have applied for this position, and there's this one person from Iowa. Based on bringing them to come and interview, I'm going to pick and select the individuals from New York. So we are starting to take physical address off just as a way of, helping you further your job search. So again, yeah, typical format looking here. The one thing, and I think it's the most important part of a resume, are what these bullets are. So and I'll kind of highlight them here. What we want to try and develop are what we call action verb statements. And essentially what you're describing is the types of experiences, skill sets, accomplishments you've had in each of your your areas. So I want to show you, we do have this handout on our webpage as well. This is a little cheat sheet for a variety of different action verbs out there that you can use in a variety of ways in terms of communication. There's a ton of them. We don't want to use the same action verb for every statement. So, and then it also gives some examples there up at the top, and they're kind of hard to see from this visual. But yeah, you know, this first one presented a public policy research study at a national conference. I know exactly what you did. It's a strong action verb at the beginning, and attending a national conference, presenting at it nonetheless is phenomenal piece of information to share. So yeah, this is another handout. You'll also notice on some of the other ones, there's numerical values, and employers like to see that because it shows some sort of, you know, tangible evidence of, you know, what you did as well. So handled 20 to 35 plus customer calls per shift regarding coverage changes, renewal rates, and bill procedures. That gives me a really good idea of the volume in which you took part in those initiatives. So this can really be helpful for developing those statements. And again, they are the most important. In a little bit, I will show you where you can access this actual resume template here. And I do want to highlight templates are something that I don't recommend. So Googling templates or using a Microsoft Office template, what the challenge with that is they become harder to manipulate in the future. So starting from scratch, building from scratch is probably the best way to go with developing your resume, and something that I highly recommend. I do want to show you our career services webpage here. So we've put a lot of information out here in terms of resumes, interviewing, you know, looking at our job board. We are in the transitioning into a new job board. So we'll have an active job board this summer called Handshake. And so I'm not going to show you our job board because it is changing, but I do recommend it as a source for looking up employment opportunities. We have all of our connections in terms of employers that, you know, we've developed really quality relationships with them, and they like to post through our job board and make that connection for students. So a great resource for you. But if I click on this resumes and interview tab, you'll see a variety of different resources in terms of resume samples, you know, application documents. That Power Verbs handout is on here that I just showed you, cover letter, tutorial, and then there's these little W documents. And what these are is they are a built from scratch template. So you can download a Word document, and it's very similar to the one I just showed you with the general resume. And you can just plug and play your information into this document itself. So it's really handy in that sense. If you are just starting from scratch on your resume, this can be a place to start. I also want to highlight down here at the bottom, we do have some interview prep materials. So we have 90 plus practice questions. I do not recommend going through all of these, but taking one or two from various areas and practicing them, they'll better prepare you for an interview. So that's a little bit about our website, and you know, I highly recommend using that. The other thing that we've recently put up here, I want to show you for our appointments and so forth. You know, since we are working remotely right now, to schedule an appointment, we're recommending that you visit our webpage and just clicking on appointment, and it gives you our calendars and when our availability is. So signing up for times through this avenue to meet with us is the best way to kind of set up an appointment. Otherwise, we're shooting emails back and forth, and it just takes more time on both of our ends. The other thing I want to mention, we have this Find a Job Today piece. And this is really relevant to our current situation. You know, we have a lot of different feelings out there on the job economy, the job market, all of that kind of thing. And so there's some resources out here to try and help you, you know, get revved up for this search. There are jobs out there. I want to mention that. You know, if you visit some of the sites that I'm going to mention here too, you'll notice that there are plenty of jobs. In fact, even COVID-19 has produced a variety of jobs. I think I looked on, it was either Career One Stop or USA Jobs, and 490 positions were listed. So there are jobs out there. You just have to take initiative in seeking out those opportunities and networking, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this can serve as a resource to look further into how to navigate these times. So that's a little bit about our website and resumes. The other thing I'll just mention, and if any of you are first or second year students, this is highly relevant to you. Uh, we have a model called 322. In 2015, we did a study and we saw that the students that were 100% successful in attaining employment or going to grad school within 6 months of graduation, they had a 322 experience. They had a 3.0 GPA. I'm going to bring up my little image here too. So yeah, they had a 3.0 GPA. They engaged in 2 professional experiences, which is an internship or part-time job. And then they also engaged in 2 leadership opportunities. So anything from clubs and orgs, or where you've served on, a volunteer project, any of that kind of stuff is relevant to leadership. And we saw that the individuals that had this kind of experience were 100% successful after graduation and finding their next step. Now, if you're worried about the 3.0 GPA, we can move that over. So maybe you have a 2.75 GPA, but you have 3 professional experiences or 3 leadership opportunities. It was the same success rate. So first and second year students, it is really important that you engage in and get involved on campus and seek out internship and part-time opportunities. Those of you that are graduating, for developing your resume, highlighting this kind of a set of experiences is really valuable to employers. So I just wanted to offer that up as well. Okay, so I am done with that section. I want to move on to some of the, and I'm going to stop share screen here for a little bit. I'm going to move on to some of my tips for online interviewing. So I've basically got 3 tips for you here, and it kind of consists of more than that, but here we go. So number 1, location and attire is critical. So non-distracting background, something that's blank, professional, quiet, that you're not going to get distracted, is important for an online interview. And I would encourage you to dress the way you normally would in an interview. So come with, a nice shirt and tie, a suit, dress pants, shoes, those kinds of dress shoes. The more that you kind of prep and are feeling in the interview mindset, the better you're going to perform. So show up dressed, and then less distraction, the better. So no big earrings or dangling earrings that can kind of distract from, you answering questions, and combing your hair, brushing it, nothing revealing. Those kinds of things are also critical to the way you look and present yourself. So location and attire are huge. Number 2, how you respond to questions. When you are responding to a question, I would look at your camera, and it seems awkward. It's going to take some practice to kind of get used to, but as you're responding to questions, looking at the camera is really that way to kind of provide direct eye contact to the employer on the other end. Also, be comfortable with silence. That typically is a thing, and on a phone call too. Don't feel like you have to fill the space every second when you're responding. The other thing to be mindful of, maybe you do have another thought after you've kind of responded and stated your answer, and you have one more thought and you share it. That's fine, but I wouldn't do it with every question either. So be comfortable in the silence, and that takes some getting used to too. All the more reason to practice with us with a mock interview so you get used to these things. And again, setting up an appointment with us is the way to go about that. And then be comfortable with note takers. I'm a furious note taker, which creates a lot of silence as well. So you want to respond to the camera and let note takers just take care of themselves. I think that's the key when individuals are kind of taking down what you're saying. And lastly, this is a normal interview. So, just like I said, you're dressing up professionally, you're responding to questions. Come with your own set of questions, because that helps show that you take an invested interest in their organization. But the other thing is that having a phone number, making sure that they have that. If the technology is not working, you more than likely will be taking that interview on a phone call. So being prepared for that. You might want to start early and test your connection. I know I signed on with Jenny about 10 minutes early just to make sure everything is working right. I would even say 15 minutes, or if you want to test the connection and it's possible even before that, I think that's important and crucial. for you to kind of understand and make sure that everything's working. And again, with normal interview practice, thanking the employer afterwards is really helpful, and they appreciate that. So writing a handwritten note, if you can do it right away and send it, that's great. If you don't get to the thank you for another day or two, then we're looking at, sending an email, and that's just as fine. So yeah, I think thanking the employer for their time and consideration is huge. So those are kind of my tips for online interviewing, and feel free to ask questions again here at the end, or put them in the chat box, and we can address those too. And then where I'm going to spend the bulk of our time together here today is really on the job search and networking piece. So I want to share my screen here again. All right, and I'm going to take a drink here real quick. So what I want to show you, I think a lot of students from social sciences, and I think parents kind of cause this too, is what is my student going to do with psychology? What is my student going to do with social work? And I like to show this graphic. I don't know when this was taken, but it's within the last 5 years. This gives you a really solid understanding of where majors are going to different industries. So if I look, history, social work's on here, psychology, they're more down on the bottom end. The color represents the majors, and the gray represents the industries. And you'll notice that psychology and social work are, going a variety of different ways. I think family services is in here. It is not, but which is interesting. So philosophy, world religion, history, some of those majors, everything is branching out to a variety of industries. So I just want you to know that, because you're majoring in psychology does not mean you have to go get your doctorate and become a psychologist. All majors are going different directions. Mine, for example, elementary, middle level education was my major, and now I'm working in higher education. Most people that you talk to in the working world are going to say that they're not in their major specific industry. So I just want to reassure you that your major can literally go anywhere. And that can be terrifying to some, but also reassuring. So I share that openly. And I think the most important part of, I'll stop sharing screen here, share a quick story. The most important part of your job search is networking. And this is something I learned the hard way. Back in 2011, I had just graduated from grad school, and my wife and I went and worked at Upper Iowa University for a year. She had an opportunity to come back and work under her mentor at UNI, so we moved back to Cedar Falls, had a baby on the way, and I thought I could just find anything. And I had this master's degree in hand. I applied for 54 positions in the area, only using, sites like Indeed and Monster. And really what I should have been doing was tapping into my network, getting connected with people I knew on campus, other people in my community, people that I personally know. That's what I should have been doing, because that probably would have led me to a job a lot quicker than those 10 months that I spent, searching on my own. So really networking is the most helpful resource during your job search. And every job that I've ever had, there is a connection tied to it. I can think back, reflect on that, and really see that there was a connection made in order for me to get that position. So it is crucial that you start networking. It takes you places. And if you think about, how do I start that? Some of that, it can be intimidating for some to kind of think about, how do I get going on this? I'm going to give you just a little exercise that we won't have time to do today, but I want you to do if you want to start building your network. So what I want you to do is think about the job that you want. Think critically about what kind of position do I want? And maybe right now in these current times, you're not going to get that ideal dream job. So you need to think a little more outside the box on what could lead me there. Or maybe that dream job is open and available to you right now. But essentially, the job that you want, think about that. Then think about the skills and experiences you have to make that happen. What are the things that you've done that can lead you to that position? And then the last piece of this exercise is thinking about 10 organizations that might be tied or connected to that network. Again, 10 organizations that are tied to that job that you want. And then 10 individuals you might want to connect with that you know personally. that might lead you to that job. And I guarantee you, you know some individuals. You know, it even might be parents. It might be somebody from your hometown. It might be your professors, and use them as a resource. This is where networking starts, is to really brainstorm and then to reach out to those individuals and say, hey, I'm looking to go in this direction. Can you help me? Or do you know individuals that can take me there, or organizations for that matter? So that's a great place to start. And I think also LinkedIn is another valuable networking resource. From our industry and practice of career services all throughout the country, many of our offices are, maybe all of them, are encouraging students to get on LinkedIn, because we believe that it could be the kind of a transition that it will be used more often in job searches, because it has a job searching board. It also has, you know, the connections with people, and the nice feature, and I'm just going to click on jobs here. I'm going to type in social work, and let's just say Iowa as a whole. There's a variety of different positions out there. I click on one. Let's see, program specialist one, social work, Centene Corporation. You'll see that they have, just like job boards have, a description, responsibilities, qualifications, education experience, licensure, all the things that you need to apply for that job. But the handy thing with LinkedIn is I just click this apply button and my entire profile is submitted. So it's really slick in terms of applications. You're not sending cover letters everywhere. You're not sending resumes. We really think that this might be a future tool that's really focused on for the job search in the coming years. So get on LinkedIn, and you really need a strong profile. Because again, when I select apply for a job, it is submitting my whole profile, and the more robust and well put together that is, the better. LinkedIn is essentially a professional Facebook. It's where you provide your resume through a profile. This is the first homepage where you see kind of a news feed similar to Facebook. If I click on my image over here, this is my profile. And the most important part is this top part, because that's what employers are going to see first. So having a professional photo in the mix, you know, you can change this photo up to here at the top, at the kind of the header photo. For yourself starting out in, you know, your search, you can, for your title, put UNI 2020 graduate seeking opportunities in social work, seeking opportunities in family services. This is, you know, you can change this to whatever path you're looking to go into. And this piece, this about piece, is kind of your summary. Now, mine's more philosophical in nature because I've been in the working world for a while. If you're going into entry-level positions, this can be that summary of experiences you've had and what you're looking for, essentially. Again, this becomes that online resume, and you can, there's so many profile sections that you can put into this. So, you know, my experience, I just put my bullets in with each of the jobs that I've had. So I just essentially took the resume content that I've put together and plugged it right into LinkedIn. So experience, you can put your education, the different organizations that you've been involved in, any licensures or certifications that you've obtained, your volunteer experience. Skills and endorsements is a section where you can highlight 50 of your skills that you believe you have, and then your network endorses you for those skill sets. And there's even a recommendations piece that people can recommend you. I have no recommendations, so I need to get to work on that. And then we also have accomplishments down here too. Anything that, you know, coursework, honors and awards, projects, even the interest piece. You know, the people that you follow, the organizations and industries you follow, employers will look at that and see what kind of connections you're looking into. There's a variety of different things, groups that you can be a part of, but this essentially is that online resume, and the more robust that it's put together, the better. And I did not bring up there's an article about 10 don'ts for Facebook or for LinkedIn profile pictures. And so what you want to do is take a sharp photo. So nothing that's blurry, nothing that's small, nothing where you're in a party scene or anything like that. We want to make sure it's appropriate. UNI, actually, our office, when we provide our career readiness days just before our career fairs on campus, we have a photographer that will take professional headshots. And that would be an image that we could use for your profile. You could also, cameras are so well done with, on our cell phones nowadays. This is my colleague Matt Neese. He took this on his Google Pixel phone. He took it in portrait mode and blurred out the background. And then, of course, his picture is really sharp. So if you go outside on a nice day, you could take something like this, or even the one that I had, where I'm just in front of a brick wall too. So anything that's going to see your face clear and up front is a strong profile picture. You can even Google, do's and don'ts of LinkedIn profile pictures, and you'll get a better sense of what's appropriate. So, okay, so the other piece I just want to mention is different sites out there. Obviously, networking is key, but looking on different job searching sites. Career One Stop is a great job searching site, especially for the CSBS majors, as well as USA Jobs, so holding governmental types of positions. USA Jobs requires more detail in your application, so that's kind of the difference between that and other job searching boards. And then association pages. So if you are interested in, museum work, look at museum association pages. Some of them do require for you to pay or submit, some sort of profile. Not all of them, so you have to kind of be mindful of that and research it out. And community websites can be helpful too. So yeah, I all of those tools can be useful to you. The nonprofit organizations, I hear my colleague coming in just a second here. I apologize. This is the reality we're living in right now. So my daughter came to tell me that our tree cutters are here. So anyway, so yes. So where was I here? Okay. So the one thing I do want to mention here is another strategic tactic for seeking out nonprofit opportunities. What I've done is I just Google, nonprofit organizations in a certain location. So this nonprofit, I put in nonprofit organizations in Iowa. And if I click on the map here, you'll see a variety, obviously, within our area. But the beauty of Google Maps is as I adjust or move, it'll populate new nonprofit organizations. And I can zoom in, let's say in Des Moines, and look at what's around Des Moines. Then what you do is you click on sites. So let's do one Iowa. And you'll see over here, then you have access to their website. I click on the website and I can go in and, learn about the organization. I can check out their About Us page. You'll find employment opportunities or careers at the top of it or at the bottom. And then see what opportunities are there. Doesn't look like One Iowa is currently hiring, but you get a good sense of, what their organization is about. So this is a way you can kind of research and then also, apply for and look for jobs in terms of nonprofit work. So the last few things that I'll say too, I should say too, Google actually has a job searching board too. So if I look, I want to say social work, jobs. This is how you access Google's job board. And we found that it's a pretty solid job board as well. But you actually have to just type it in the Google search, whatever jobs you're looking for, and it'll populate then what's in kind of your area. So this can be another job board for you to search out. If you are having a hard time finding certain positions or types of work that you want to do, rather than Googling or searching occupations in particular, what I would encourage you to do is to type keywords for that position. Assisting individuals, helping families, women's advocacy, any of that kind of stuff, keywords that will lead to a position title would be helpful. Lastly, I'll just say a couple things in terms of now, when you're searching. Expanding your locations and possibilities. What I often tell students is when they are looking for a position, especially if they're open, narrowing down your locations to 3 to 5. 3 to 5 locations where you can solidly look for opportunities. If you are open and you're looking at all different areas, some in Florida, California, Missouri, looking in Kansas, it just becomes overwhelming and you don't know where to start. So narrowing that the locations down to 3 to 5 is helpful. Or specifically with nowadays, with our current situation, 5 to 9 would be appropriate. So expanding that just a little bit further, but still keeping it narrow and with a reasonable approach to searching. So, now is a prime time for graduate school. If you're thinking about, working in social work, a lot of job opportunities in social work may require a master's degree. So it is an optimal time to go and further your education. You could even seek out, specific skill set programs. Look for opportunities where you can really gain transferable skill sets. And I would argue that any position can give you transferable skill sets, especially in the social sciences. So finding those jobs where you can, further enhance your skill sets and knowledge and abilities is helpful. Connect with a local chamber. So right here in the Cedar Valley, we have I think it's the Cedar Valley. No, it's Greater. I'm not going to get the name right. Anyway, chambers here in the Cedar Valley. Looking at chamber pages, you'd be surprised. Even Mason City, Charles City, they have chambers and they have young professional groups. So young professional groups are where those that are just entering the field can kind of connect and look at what opportunities are in the area, look even for apartments, any of that kind of stuff is where young professionals can connect. Some of them cost and do have a membership fee, but not all of them. So seeking out those groups can be helpful too. Okay, and the last thing I'll just say too, places are hiring. I know that the economy is really struggling. Jobs are still out there. You just have to take that initiative and really be gung-ho about looking what is available and applying yourself, taking action. Again, one of the things that I did in my search, about 10 years ago was not every day was I setting aside time to seek out opportunities. This is a full-time job to find a job. So making your calendar each week for 2 to 3 hours where you're just seeking and applying is critical. And if you're getting interviews, that means your materials are strong. If you're not getting job offers, then maybe it's your interview skills that need to get enhanced. So we want to help you with those pieces, your interview or your resume and cover letter materials, your professional documents, and your interviewing skills. So let us know if we can help on that front. I think that's where I'm going to kind of take pause and we'll go through questions. I fly through this stuff so fast, so if you want me to repeat anything, let me know. There's so much ground to cover. I typically will spend an hour on resumes and an hour on interviewing, but I wanted to give you kind of a taste of a variety of things right now.
TJ, since there's no questions yet on the chat board, if you wouldn't mind, stop sharing your screen. I might have
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have a couple things I want to share with social work students in particular, and with any UNI student who might be viewing this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I loved your discussion about tapping into the network, and we have a couple different options I want to reference. So for any student who is looking into the human service field, on our website, social work website that would be, we have a link to a number of human service organizations or organizations that accept are looking for people with human service degrees. Under student resources, under employment opportunities, we have some of the things that you had talked about, reference, just live links there, and then some specific agencies, and these go right to their employment boards. And I try to indicate if I know where they're located. If you don't see that, it might be more broad. Most of these are Iowa located, but some are outside of the state. Again, I try to indicate if I know it's more nationwide or if it's more local. Um, Also, if I get an active posting, like here's an example, the Community Health Center of Southern Iowa, they gave me a posting back in January. I tend to put them on for at least a month or more, so students can see that as well if it's something that maybe they don't have linked on their website. And that's available to any student who wants to access that. The other opportunity for our alumni is at the end of their field experience, I offer an opportunity for our graduating students, both undergraduate and graduate, to be on our alumni listserv. And so when organizations reach out to me, and I get them from community partners, those that we partner with for volunteer and internship experiences, as well as just our alumni who are working maybe in an organization anywhere in the country, and they're trying to tap into social work degreed individuals, and they'll reach out to me and say, we have a job posting, would you share on your website, as well as share with your alumni. So students at any time, whether they do it at the end of their degree or down the road, provide me a non-UNI email address, because you don't get to keep your UNI one forever. I can put you on our alumni listserv, and some are on there. I've had some on there for years and years and years. I know they're working in the field, but they kind of want to hear what's out there as well. We're not trying to pull anybody away from their jobs, but with social work, we have opportunities for advancement. We have opportunities, sometimes those with master's degrees coming out of a BA program into a master's program might be in a BA degreed position initially. So they're looking for advancement once they get some experience under their belt for something that requires a master's degree with maybe better hours, better pay. So these are just opportunities that we can share with our alumni. So that would be more specific to our social work alumni. However, our employment page is public and open to anybody who wants to search for jobs in that manner.
That's great, Jenny. I didn't realize that you had all those positions and organizations listed there. That's phenomenal. And, one thing too to kind of be mindful of is we do have employers that are looking for students to start, they come to our career fairs in the fall, they're hiring right there, and they'll wait for students to graduate too. So the sooner you can get on this, the better. Yeah.
TJ, can you speak to what kind of services you offer to our alumni and for how long? I've heard some different things, but maybe that could be just something you can clarify for how often, how long after a graduation can our alumni access career service, resume, feedback, mock interviews, things like this?
Yeah. So our typical, kind of policy is to help students up to a year after graduation. However, given this time frame, we're really trying to expand that, and that does not mean it's a year and one day we're not going to help you. That's not what that means. It's just kind of a time frame based on what we can help with. But even more so right now, we've had alums that have contacted us and needed some assistance, and we're willing to go there and help students out, especially during this season. So yeah, that's kind of our policy, but it's a flexible policy.
Great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, and then we can hang out for questions that anybody might have that's participating in the Zoom session. So thank you, TJ, for your expertise and your wonderful information. Thank you for those who joined us today. And this will conclude our session.